Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to YAHAWAH, by Hashem, YAHAWASHI, by Hashem, Rachak Tawab, Feast of Tabernacles to you, Akim. That is going to be tonight at even, all right, all the way up until the next Sabbath at even. Okay, so I want to read some scriptures on the mindset of the Feast of Tabernacles, a very beautiful holy day, and it's not really a time of mourning. It's more a time of rejoicing. Okay, and YAHAWASHI and his great goodness, and what he's gonna do for the nation of Israel. You see. And what he's already done, waking brothers up to the truth and things of that nature. You know what I mean? This is a time of rejoicing in YAHAWASHI. So I want to get Deuteronomy, the 16th chapter, in the first verse. It says, Salaki, not the first verse, the 13th verse. It says, "Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days. After that, thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine." Why? Because this is a time of the ingathering. This is the time when, at the end of the harvest, where you gather all the rest of the crops. Okay? "And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast." You shall rejoice in your feast. Okay? "Thou and thy son, and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite, the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are within thy gates. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Lord thy power, in the place which the Lord shall choose, because YAHAWASHI thy power shall bless thee in all thine increase," right? Which is the increase of the crops. Okay? "And in all the works of thine hands, therefore thou shalt surely rejoice." And we're hoping that the Most High blesses us in the work that we're doing. Okay, the work of the Lord. Pushing this word out, feeding the sheep. We hope that the Lord blesses us in that work. Okay, you see. So this is why this is the mindset that we should have going into the Feast of Tabernacles. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy power, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, which is the Passover, and in the feast of weeks, okay, which is the first fruits, and in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. So when you go to the brother's house, bring something, whatever you can, whether it's $5, whether it's a bottle of wine, whatever you have to bring to this feast, you bring it. Okay, every man shall give as he is able. You see, so whether it's $1, whether it's a wine, whatever you're able to give, according to the blessing of the Lord thy power, which he hath given thee. Well, according to the blessing. All right, according to the blessing which he hath given thee. All right, and it says, "Judges and officers shalt thou make thee in." Oh, this is going to something else. Okay, so that's the point. All right, so you're supposed to be, you're supposed to not come empty-handed. You're supposed to have something to give, and it is a time of rejoicing. Okay, a time of rejoicing in YAHAWASHI. Not rejoicing in your might, not rejoicing in what you've accomplished, but rejoicing in the blessing of YAHAWASHI. Let's look up this word sukkah, because when you see Feast of Tabernacles and Feast of Booths and these different things, it's the same word. All right, it says thicket, covert, booth, thicket, booth. All right, now what is a thicket? Okay, let's look it up. All right, here you see a rude or temporary shelter. So it's a rough shelter. It's not even really a tent. It's really just a rough shelter. You see this? When you type up thicket in Google, it shows you this. Like if you're in the woods and you don't have any materials and you just see a bunch of trees, you just kind of, put those trees over each other and you kind of lay under that. And if you can find some big leaves, which the scriptures speak about, the palm tree leaves, you put it over that to give you some type of shelter from the rain or what have you. So it's a very, very rough dwelling place, man. Okay, you can't be no soft individual dwelling in that type of place, man. So that's what it is. You see they have like these sticks, and you have like the leaves here. You would make something along those lines, right? You might probably bring a bed in there or something that you can lay. You make it something that you can lay on, man. You're not gonna lay on sticks and stones and stuff like that. So either way, the point of the matter is that it's a very rough dwelling. Okay? Now, the reason for that, it would be, to humble thyself. Okay? What other reason would the Most High want you to dwell in a place like that? Is to be to humble thyself before Him. Okay? Well, I can't think of any other reason why the Most High would want you to dwell in a rough dwelling place like that, man. All right? You see, and it's for 7 days. Obviously, we can't do that now, so you do what you can. For example, me, I'm most, like, for example, there's a couple things you can do. Let's say you like to wear a hat to cover your bald spot. You can take that hat off for 7 days, man. You dig what I'm saying? Or if you like to wear jewelry, don't wear jewelry for 7 days, because if we're in the kingdom, we're gonna take off our crowns and go dwell in these tents. We're gonna be in the kingdom. We're gonna be living in palaces, but we're gonna be living in these booths, in these rough dwelling places for 7 days. All right, and have a feast of rejoicing. You see? Now, let's get Ezra 3 and verse 4. It says, they kept also the Feast of Tabernacles, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number, according to the custom, as the duty of every day required. You see, so we're supposed to offer a certain amount of burnt offering every day in this feast of Tabernacles. But clearly, we don't offer out burnt offerings anymore. What is the burnt offering? What is the sacrifice, man? I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies as a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. So, guess what? You're gonna have to. Sometimes we got to be creative because we're in this hell. So we can't observe our customs as we would like. All right. So you have to make your body a living sacrifice. So sometimes you have to cut off certain things for a certain period of time, man. You see? You understand? So you do that, and that's a good way to humble yourself before the Lord, man. Like I said, man, if you like to wear a cap to cover your bald spot, take that off, man. You see? That's part of that's humility. That's humility or humiliation, which is the same thing. If you like to wear jewelry, might not wear it for 7 days. Just different things you can do. Through the Spirit. I'm saying that through the Spirit, because we're in this captivity. We have to improvise. All right. And afterward offered up the continual burnt offering, both of the new moons and of all the set feasts of the Lord that were consecrated, and of every one that willingly offered a free will offering unto the Lord. Okay. So that was it on that. Now let's get Exodus, the 23rd chapter and the 16th verse. It's Exodus 23 and verse 16. Matter of fact, I'll start at 15 because it's going to go into the 3 different times, or 14 rather. All right, it says 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. All right, and we read about that feast before, but sometimes they're called by different names. But this is how you know the names that they're called by going to the different scriptures, the different precepts, and seeing. Okay, and it also gives you a better more understanding of what that holiday is, that holy day is. Okay, and what it's all about. This is Exodus 23:15. It says, "Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty." All right, so you have the Passover, which is also known as the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It's not 2 separate holy days. It's the same holy day with a different name. Why is it called the Feast of Unleavened Bread? Because we eat unleavened bread for those 7 days. All right, and why is it called the Passover? Because the Lord passed over the Israelites that had the blood on their doorpost. Okay, blood of the lamb. So it's as simple as that. Okay, so there's different meanings because, you know, the feast, the particular feast is not just about one particular thing. Okay, and the Feast of Harvest, the first fruits of thy labors. All right, so the Feast of First Fruits is also known as the Feast of Harvest. Okay, why? Because you're bringing in fruit. Okay, the first fruits of thy labor, which thou hast sown in the field, and the Feast of Ingathering, which is what? The Feast of Tabernacles, or the Feast of Booths, which is the same thing, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field. So you got one for the beginning of the year. You have one for the harvest, the first fruits, the first harvest, and then you have one for the gathering of everything else. All right, all your crops being gathered in together, and they all got different vibrations. Right, they all have different vibrations. You see, because the feast of unleavened bread, the Passover, is a solemn assembly. So is all of them. But guess what? The Feast of Unleavened Bread is not spoken about. There's no rejoicing in the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It's not a time of rejoicing. You see? It's not a time of rejoicing. It was a very serious thing that was going on in that time. We were fleeing from Egypt. The Most High was plaguing Egypt. The Egyptians were trying to kill us. We had to eat quickly. We had to keep our shoes on. So listen, man, it's not a time of we don't have time to rejoice in the Passover. Okay? And we sure don't have the time to go to any clubs, all right, and pop bottles, man, like certain Israelite groups, man. You see? Let's jump to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Let's jump to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. And it says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles, of 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein." Okay? You shall do no servile work therein. That's because what? It falls on the Sabbath. That's why it says that. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. All right, unto YAHAWASHI. And they get this mixed up with the 8th day, and it says 7 days, so it just falls back onto the Sabbath day. It is a holy, a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. These are the feasts of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire, and a burnt offering, and a meat offering, a sacrifice, right? And guess what? We don't have any dead sacrifice anymore. We're not sacrificing animals any longer. So who's the sacrifice? You are the sacrifice. So we offer our bodies as a living sacrifice, man. So that's why I said, hey, you can improvise, man. All right? And drink offerings, everything upon his day, beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your freewill offerings, which ye give unto Yahweh. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruits of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord YAHAWASHI 7 days. And on the 1st day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath, which falls back on, when you count it, it's 8 days, okay, it's the 8th day, which falls back on the Sabbath, if you count it correctly. All right. And ye shall take you on the 1st day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before Yahweh your power 7 days. So you're supposed to rejoice, okay? Rejoice. Let's look up that word rejoice, man. Let's look up that word rejoice. So on this day, you can be in good spirits, man. You see, to rejoice, be glad. To rejoice arrogantly, exult, to rejoice religiously. Well, we're not going to rejoice arrogantly. We're just going to rejoice and give praise unto YAHAWASHI. To cause to rejoice, to glad and to make glad. To cause to rejoice, to glad and to make glad, to merry, joyful. So you get the point, okay? And it says, ye shall keep the feast, Salakia, and ye shall keep the feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in the booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, which I showed you that a booth is just a really rough dwelling place, like a thicket. Okay? That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths. What's that to do? Humble yourself before the Lord. When I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I am Yahweh, your power. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of Yahweh. So that's it, man. It's about humbling yourself before the Lord, man. This is what it's all about, bro. It's all about humbling yourself before Yahweh by Shem Yahawashi. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to say it again. You can improvise, man. All right? If you like this particular shirt that you wear all the time, maybe don't wear that for 7 days, man. Your favorite shirt, don't wear that for 7 days, man. Whatever the case is, man. Humble yourself before Yahweh or YAHAWASHI, man. Okay? For these 7 days, and rejoice. This is Nehemiah 8. This is Nehemiah 8. in verse. Okay, this is going into when Nehemiah opened the book of the law, and he was reading the book of the law because the children of Israel fell away, and they weren't keeping the law, statutes, and commandments as they should have. And it says, and on the second day were gathered together the chief of the fathers of all the people, the priests and the Levites, unto Ezra the scribe, even to understand the words of the law. And they found written in the law which YAHAWAH had commanded by Moses, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths in the feast of the 7th month. Okay? They found it written in the law because guess what? They fell away. And that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, Go forth unto the mount and fetch olive branches and pine branches and myrtle branches and palm branches and branches of thicket and trees to make booths as it is written. Now, you see that picture I had up before of thicket? This is what they were making. These type of rough dwelling places, man. A super duper rough dwelling place. Okay, it wasn't no tent really. It was a super duper rough dwelling place, man. Okay, that they put leaves over it, like the palm tree leaves. The palm tree leaves are nice and big. They did it with that, kind of like these leaves. You see? Back to Nehemiah. It says that they should. Salakia. Okay. So the people went forth and brought them and made themselves booths, every one upon the roof of his house, and in their courts, and in the courts of the house of the Most High, and in the streets, and in the street of the water gate, and in the street of the gate of Ephraim, and all the congregation of them that were come again out of the captivity made booths, and sat under the booths. For since the days of Jeshua, the son of Nun, unto that day had not the children of Israel done so, and there was very great gladness. Okay, so that's it, man. All right, they fell off, they came back, and they were glad, rejoicing in the fact that they were keeping the Feast of Tabernacles. I wanted to get into John 7, going into YAHAWASHI, but I want to do a lesson on that a little bit later, so we'll save that one. And hopefully this was edifying to you, Akim. So with that, I'll say shalom.